Good afternoon. In the last class, we have seen the counting principles, the basic counting principles, which were product rule and the sum rule. And along with that, we have even seen a principle which is known as the subtraction rule or inclusion-exclusion principle. So these were the beginning topics of your unit 2. Now, based on this third one, inclusion-exclusion principle, now we will see an example. So the example is counting bit strings. How many bit strings of length 8 either start with a 1, bit 1 or end with 2 bits zeros? Now over here, we have to count the strings of length 8. Now with respect to the strings of length 8, let's start. So strings that begin with 1. Strings that begin with 1. So this can be written in this way. So the first string, if we want it to begin with 1, let's assign it the position 1. How many ways can we fill it? Only one way. Okay. Now what about the rest of these 7 strings? So for the rest of the 7 strings, they can be filled each in 2 ways. So this is filled in 2 ways each. So totally it will be filled in 2 power 7 ways, which is 128. Okay. Now what about the strings that end with 2 bits 0? So strings that end with 2 bits as zeros. Okay. The last 2 bits should be 0. In this case, now these last 2 bits should be assigned the value 0 and each of them can be filled in one way only. The rest of the bits can be filled in 2 ways each. Okay. So this is 2 power 6 ways, which is 64. Okay. Now at the end, suppose you in both these cases you are also including the case where it ends with 1 and where it starts with 1 and ends with 0, and so over here you are even considering the cases in both of them. That is, you are considering the common cases in both of them. Okay. So if this is here A, if this is A and this is B, then there are a few common cases. If you remember our sets diagram, a few common cases lie in this part. Okay. And both of them are being included twice. So we have to remove the cases where the string is starting with 1 and ending with 0, which is being included twice. How many ways can we do this part? We can do it in 2 power 5 ways. Okay. So the solution for this will be, I'm writing it over here, cardinality of A, that is the number of strings in the set A, plus the cardinality of B, the number of strings in set B, minus whichever are being included twice. What are being included twice? The ones starting with 1 and ending with 2 zeros are being included twice. So we have to remove that, which will be A intersection B. So this is 2 power 5. It will be equivalent to 32 ways. So the solution for this problem will be 128 plus 64 minus 32. Okay, so this is the solution for your problem, which is equivalent to the result, which is 160. Okay, so this is your solution. Now let's see our problem for the same. So over here we have number of bit strings of length 8 that start with a 1 bit 2 power 7 ways. Number of bit strings of length 8 that end with bits 00, 2 power 6 ways, and the ones which are being included twice, we have to remove this part. So this is your cardinality of A plus cardinality of B minus A intersection B. So this is the problem for your inclusion exclusion principle. Now the next thing is tree diagrams. For tree diagrams, why do we require tree diagrams? Counting problems can also be solved using tree diagrams. And whenever we are counting something, a tree consists of a root and a number of branches leaving the root. Okay, so whenever in mathematics and computer science we talk about a tree, it will consist of one root, and there will be branches leaving the root, and then these branches again will have nodes, and we will have even more further branches from that nodes. Now whenever we want to study counting problem, we can use a tree where a branch represents a possible choice and the leaf represents outcomes or the result. So leaf represent the outcomes or the result. Now let's see an example with the same. Suppose that we have t-shirts with some text written on it, that is I love discrete mathematics, and which comes in 5 different sizes of small, medium, large, XL and XXL. Now each size comes in 4 colors except XL. So XL, what about XL? XL only comes in 3 colors, which are red, green and black, and XXL which comes only in 2 colors, green and black. What about the other 3? The other 3 are all in 4 colors, which are white, red, green and black. Okay, now what is the minimum number of stores that the campus bookstore, what is the minimum number of t-shirts that the campus bookstore needs to stock to have one of each size and color available? Now in this case, so we have to find the minimum number of different size and colors of t-shirts to be stocked. So how many do we have? So if we are taking with the help of a graph, let's take this with the help of a graph. These are the points that we have to notice. Now these are your t-shirts. How many colors do we have for the t-shirts? The t-shirts are in 5 colors. So the t-shirts are in 5 sizes actually. Let's draw those. This is S, M, L, XL and XXL. Let's write the same. This represents here, this branch represents the choice while the node represents the outcome. So S, M, L, XL and XXL. Now with respect to each of them, how many colors we are supposed to have? We will draw those. So with respect to S, we have 4 colors. So these are the 4 colors with respect to S. Let's name them. We have white, red, green and blue. Next, the same with M and L. So let's draw these 4 colors. This is for M. For L also we have 4 colors. And for XL, we have only 3 over here, RGB. So let's write that. This is for XL. And for XXL, we only have 2 colors. Let's name all the colors. So again for M, we have white, red, green and blue. Similar is the case with the other L. And what about XL? For XL, we have the colors only 3, red, green and blue. With XXL we have green and blue. That is, for double XL we have green and blue. Now totally how many possible shirts are we supposed to have? For this we are supposed to count the number of branches we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we will have 12, 15 and 17 at the end. So over here we have 17 different size and colors of t-shirts. So whenever someone is supposed to stock these t-shirts, they have to stock 17 different t-shirts. Okay. So let's see the same with the help of the solution. We are supposed to draw the tree diagram. The store must stock 17 different t-shirts, and this is the diagram. We have the sizes and the color choices. Count the total number of branches at the end. It will give you the solution of the problem. Next we have a principle which is known as the pigeonhole principle. So first, the pigeonhole principle, let's suppose that we have a flock of 20 pigeons, and that flies into a set of 19 pigeonholes. So we have a set of 19 pigeonholes. Okay, and there are 20 pigeons but only 19 pigeonholes. Now we can understand that at least one of the pigeonholes will have 2 pigeons in it. Okay, so this is that whenever we are saying that there are more number of pigeons and less number of pigeonholes, then we can easily understand that at least one of the pigeonhole will have more than one pigeon. So this principle is basically known as the pigeonhole principle, and in general we can state that if there are more pigeons than pigeonholes, then there must be at least one pigeonhole with at least 2 pigeons in it. And this principle, so we are speaking over here not only about pigeons, but this principle will apply to any other object. So if we have more number of balls to be put in the boxes, then there might be at least one box which will have at least 2 balls in it. Okay, so with any object we can base this principle on any object. Let's see the formal definition for the same. So the same thing, if the flock of 20 pigeons roost in a set of 19 pigeonholes, one of the pigeonholes must have more than one pigeon. Okay, if we are stating it in a general way, if k is a positive integer and k plus 1 objects are placed into k boxes, then at least one box contains 2 or more of the objects. Okay, so this diagram is representing the same. There are more pigeons than the pigeonholes, then at least one will have more than 2 pigeons in it. So if you notice this diagram, there are one extra pigeon than the number of pigeonholes. So in this case we have 2 pigeons over here. So for this to prove, we use a proof by contraposition. That is, suppose none of the k boxes has more than one object, then the total number of objects would be at most k. Okay, so if we are speaking about k boxes, then there should be k objects. Okay, but in our definition we have said that there are k plus 1 objects. Okay, this means there is always one more object extra in one of the boxes. All right, so this is the proof we can give. Apart from that, whenever we are speaking about pigeonhole principle, a function f from a set with k plus 1 elements, okay, we are talking about k plus 1 elements mapping to k elements. Okay, so in this case this function is not 1 1. Okay, this is not a 1 1 function, and based on this we can say that whenever we are taking any pigeonhole principle, it cannot be a 1 1 function. The same thing is explained. Now, where do we need this? Suppose we have a group of 367 students or people. Then if we have 367 students or people and their birthdays in the year are taken, then at least two people will have the same birthday. So the day will be the same for at least two people. There might be more than two people whose birthdays might be on the same day, but at least if we have 366 days and we have 367 people, there might be at least one scenario where you will have the birthdays on a common day. Okay. Apart from that, we can also see the example. If we have a group of English words, suppose we have 27 English words. Okay. And how many alphabets do we have? We'll just write it over here. We have 26 alphabets in English language. So we have 26 alphabets. Then we can say that whenever we are speaking about 27 English words, there must be at least two. There might be more than two, but the minimum number is there must be at least two that begin with the same letter. Because why is it that? Because there are only 26 alphabets in English language, and if you have 27 English words, then there might be at least two which begin with the same letter. Apart from that, if we want to generalize the pigeonhole principle, it can be written as follows. If n objects are placed into k boxes, then there is at least one box containing at least field value of n by k objects. Okay. Now, what does this mean? We will see this with the help of an example. Suppose if there are 100 people, the same example with respect to birthdays, but instead of common days, we will consider a common month. If there are 100 people, then how many people will have at least how many people will have their birthdays in the same month or were born in the same month? So suppose if we have 100 people, how many months do we have? We have 12 months. Okay. And over here, n is the object. That is, you are placing 100 people and classifying them into how many boxes? We will have 12 boxes. So k value is 12. Now in this case, we will take the field value of 100 by 12. So 100 by 12, it will give us 8 point something. So 8 point. So if we are taking the field value, it will be equivalent to 9. So basically, when we are talking about generalized permutation and combination, and in this case, the pigeonhole principle states that if there must be at least n objects, so n is the objects and k is the boxes, then there should be at least one box containing n by k objects. Okay, n by k objects. So this means there must be at least 9 people in each box. All right. So this is an example. The next topic is permutations and combinations. So permutations and combinations is basically a method to count the problems, and many counting problems can be solved by finding the number of ways to arrange a specified number of distinct elements of a set of a particular size where the order of these elements matters. Okay, so permutation is basically the arrangement, while combination is the selection. Okay, this is the basic difference between permutation and combination. In the case of permutation, we focus on the arrangement, while in the case of combination, we will focus on the selection. And many other counting problems can be solved by finding the number of ways to select a particular number of elements from a set of particular size, where the order of elements selected does not matter. So basically, whenever we are speaking about counting problems, they can be solved by finding the number of ways of selection, or they can be by taking the number of arrangements of objects. Now first we will see the permutation So permutation is basically an ordered arrangement of a set of distinct objects. So permutation, if I'm denoting it with P, it is the ordered arrangement of a set of distinct objects. That is, the objects should be distinct whenever we are talking about permutations. Now, an ordered arrangement of R elements of a set is called an R permutation. Now, what does this mean? What do you mean by R elements? Suppose if you have some number of elements and we are making an arrangement of only R elements, then that is known as R permutation. Okay. So, ordered arrangement, the same thing. Ordered arrangement of R elements from a set of distinct objects is called an R permutation. And what is the formula for permutations? The formula is written as NPR. NPR denotes selecting R objects from a set of n distinct objects, and this is denoted by n factorial by n minus R factorial. Okay, and R is always, the condition is that R should be always less than or equal to n. Okay, this is called an R permutation. Apart from that, let's see an example with the same. Suppose if we have a set S with the elements 1, 2, 3, then what are the two permutation of S? That is, we need to select what are the different two permutations of S. We need to select each time two elements and how many permutations we will have. So in this case, if we select only two elements, the solution will be, we can select 1, 2, 1, 3 and 2, 3. Okay, so these are the arrangements where we have 1 first and then 2, 1, 3 and 2, 3. Also, we can have 2, 1, 3, 1 and 3, 2. Now, why are we taking 1, 2 and 2, 1? Are they the same thing? No. Permutation means arrangements, and 1, 2 and 2, 1 are not the same thing. If you are considering these 1, 2, 3 as the roll number of students, then roll number 1 will be different from roll number 2. So they are not the same thing. So arrangement of 1, 2 will be different from 2, 1. That is why we have to consider both of the cases. Now, if we apply the same to the formula, so our NPR is the formula. What will be the n value? N value is the number of elements in the set. Total elements, it is 3. While what is the R value? R is the number of elements we are selecting. So we were supposed to select 2 permutations, so 3. And then R is 2. So NPR, if you apply the formula, this will be 3P2. And then 3P2 is basically, if you remember NPR formula, it was n factorial by n minus R factorial. So 3P2 will be 3 factorial by 3 minus 2 factorial, which is 3 into 2 into 1 by 3 minus 2, 1, 1 factorial will be 1. So there are totally 6 arrangements which we have seen over here. So these are the 6 arrangements possible with this 2 permutation of R. Now, after that, if n is a positive integer and R is an integer with 1 less than or equal to, so n is a positive integer and R is simply an integer, and what is the value of R? And if n and R are integers, then R lies between 1 and n. Then NPR can also be written as P of n comma R, which will be equivalent to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 and so on till n minus of R plus 1. So the same formula NPR can also be written in this way, n factorial by n minus R factorial, or it can also be written in this way. Both the things are the same. And R permutations of a set of distinct elements are written in this way. Now find the, let's take an example. Find the number of 5 permutations of a set with n elements. Okay, so of a set with not n, I'm sorry, it is 9 elements. So over here, what is the total number of elements in the set? N is equal to 9, while the permutations that we are supposed to find is for 5 elements. So R is equal to 5. Again, apply the formula NPR, which will be 9 factorial by 9 minus 5 factorial, which is equivalent to 9 factorial by 4 factorial. And it can be written in 9 into 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 factorial, that is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 by 4. So it is written as this way. Now if you remember, I have shown you over here, NPR is also written as P of n comma R, and the formula was being given in this way: n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 and so on up to n minus R plus 1. So if you notice, this is the same thing. N is 9, n minus 1 8. Let's just write it over here. This is your n, n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, n minus 4 plus 1. Okay, n is 9, 9 plus 1, 10, 10 minus, sorry, your R is 5, so this will be n minus 5 plus 1. So 9 plus 1, 10. 10 minus 5 will give you 5. Okay, so the same, it can be written in this way or it can be written in this way. Next we have how many permutations of the letter. We have the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. Now we need to find the permutation of the letters containing the string ABC. Let's write the question. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H contains the string A, B, C. Now what we are saying is basically in our letters arrangement, I want the string A, B, C to be together. So whenever we want, in this case of problems, whenever we want it together, we consider ABC as an single string and consider it as 1. Then what about the other elements which are there in the set? We have D, E, F, G, H. What are the total number of elements now we have? We have 6 elements. And for 6 elements, the permutations will be, are we selecting all the elements from the 6 elements? Yes, we are selecting all of the elements. So it will be 6p6, which will be equivalent to 6 factorial by 6 minus 6 factorial. 6 factorial by 0 factorial. We know 0 factorial is equal to 1. So 6 factorial is 6p6 or npn is basically equivalent to n factorial. Okay, so whenever we are taking all the objects, then the permutation will be equivalent to n factorial only. If we have n objects and we are taking all the n, then it will be equivalent to n factorial. So 6 factorial, that is, we can create 720 arrangements where the string ABC occurs together. Okay, so this is your permutations. The same thing, a permutation of a set of distinct objects is an ordered arrangement of the objects. An ordered arrangement of R elements of a set is called an R permutation. So if we have ordered arrangement 1, 2, 3, then 3, 1, 2 is a permutation, 3, 2 is a 2 permutation, and the number of R permutations of a set with n elements is denoted by this, or even what we have studied, which is NPR. So we have seen the two permutations, 1 2 and 2 1 are different. 1 3 and 3 1 are again different, and 2 3 and 3 2 will also be different. So in total we will have 6 permutations. So the formula for the number of permutations will be, if n is a positive integer and r is an integer which lies between 1 and n, then n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 and so on up to n minus r plus 1. I have even shown you with this with the help of an example. And then we have the NPR formula, n factorial by n minus r factorial. So in the next is an example. How many ways are there to select a first prize winner, a second prize winner, and a third prize winner from 100 different people who have entered a contest? So how many people do we have? 100. So n is equal to 100. And how many prize winners are there? There are total 3 prize winners. That is, we are supposed to select 3 people. So r will be equivalent to 3. Now in this case, if we take NPR, it will be basically 100 P3. Okay, so this is equivalent to 100 factorial by 100 minus 3 factorial. So it can be written as 100 into 99 into 98 into 97 factorial by 100 minus 3, which is again 97 factorial. So this is equivalent to 100 into 99 into 98. Let's see the solution for the same. 100 into 99 into 98. Let's take, suppose we have a saleswoman who has to visit 8 different cities, and she must begin her trip in a specified city. But she can visit the other 7 cities in any order she wishes. How many possible orders can the saleswoman use when visiting these cities? Now over here we have 8 different cities. Okay, let's name them as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now suppose if she is supposed to begin at the city C only. So for city C, we have only one choice. So she has visited city C. Now after visiting city C, she has how many different choices? She has 7 different choices. So for the first, visiting the next city after the first, which is specified already, she has 7 choices. Okay. Now in the 7 choices, she might have selected any one of them. Now for the next city, how many choices will she have? She has visited 2. Now she will have 6 choices for her third city. After that, now she has visited 3 cities, she will have 5 choices. So similarly, in this way, if we are taking the number of cities, we will have 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Okay, so basically if she has chosen 1 city and she has the different option of 7 cities, it will be equivalent to 7 factorial. The first city is chosen and the rest are ordered arbitrarily, that is in any which way you want. Hence the order is 7 factorial. And if she wants to find the tour with the shortest path that visits all the cities, she must consider 5040 paths, which is equivalent to 7 factorial. How many permutations of the letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H contains the string ABC? This we have already solved. I have asked you to consider ABC as one string. Then D, E, F, G, H are each different individual. So 2, 3, 4 and we have 5 and totally 6 letters when we are considering ABC together, because we want ABC together as a string in our permutations. Then we will have 6 factorial choices, which will be equivalent to 720. We have already seen this example. Okay, so this is the example problems for permutations. We will continue the same with combinations. In the previous topic, we have already covered permutations, and now we will turn our attention to combinations. Combination is basically counting unordered selection of objects. So if you remember, with permutations it was ordered arrangement. Over here we have unordered selection of objects. And first and foremost, we will see the question, an example that is, and the example is how many different committees of 3 students can be formed from a group of 4 students. So this is our example. From a group of 4 students. Now suppose the student names are not given here, so let's consider the student as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now from these 4 students, we are supposed to find how many different committees of 3 students can be formed. So one of the committee will be 1, 2, 3. The other can be 1, 3, 4. And the next is 2, 3, 4. And then finally 1, 2, 4. Now another thing to be noticed over here is 1, 2, 3. If you are taking the student 1, student 2 and student 3, it is the same as taking either student 3, 2, 1 or even 2, 1, 3. That is, any which way you select the students, the committee will remain the same. Okay, it is the committee of the student 1, 2, 3 and the order may be different. So that is why the statement unordered is very important. That is, in the case of combinations, we have unordered selections. We are picking out the students. While in the case of permutations, it was arrangements, ordered arrangements. So over there, the order was important. Here, the order is not taken into consideration. Now with the same, when we want to take it by using a formula, we can write it as NCR. Okay, where C is the combination and or it can also be written as C of N comma R, where N is the total number of objects and R is the number of selections that you're making. So over here, the total number of objects was 4. So N will be equal to 4, R is 3, and we write 4C3, which is given by the formula NCR is equivalent to N factorial by N minus R factorial into R factorial. So it can be written as 4 factorial by 4 minus 3, which is 1 factorial into 3 factorial. 4 into 3 factorial by 3 factorial. So the solution is 4. That is, we got 4 selection of committees. Now let's see the definition for the same. An R combination of elements of a set is an unordered selection of R elements from the set. Thus, an R combination is simply a subset of the set with R elements. So whenever we are speaking about combinations, we can also define it as a subset of our set S with how many elements the subset should have? R elements from the total N elements. Okay. Now the number of R combinations of a set with N distinct elements is denoted by C of N comma R, or it can also be written as NCR. The notation N and R is also used in this way. This is also known as binomial coefficient. So if you remember your binomial theorem, NCR is the coefficient of your term. So this is your binomial coefficient. Next, let's take an example. Let S be the set ABCD, then ACD is a 3 combination from S. That is, we are taking 3 elements from the set of S, which has 4 elements, and it is the same as DCA since the order does not matter. And what about C4C2? 4C2, if you notice, will give us 4 factorial by 4 minus 2 factorial by 2 factorial. So 4 factorial will be 4 into 3 into 2 factorial by 2 factorial and 2 factorial. So this will give you the solution 6. And whenever you're taking two combinations from this subset which has 4 elements, the combinations will be AB, AC, AD, BC, BD and CD. Now over here, if you take AB or BA, both of them mean the same thing and they are counted as only one. Okay, so that is the combination example. Now after that, we are seeing the formula. The number of R combinations of a set with n elements is NCR is equal to n factorial by n minus R factorial into R factorial. After that, let's see an example. How many poker hands of 5 cards can be dealt from a standard deck of 52 cards? So first is, if we want to select 5 cards from 52 cards, so total n is given as 52, while R is 5. Now from this, we have to find the different ways of selecting 5 cards. So for this, NCR will be applied, so it will be 52C5. So 52C5 is 52 factorial by 52 minus 5 will be 47 factorial into 5 factorial. So over here, you can simply leave it as it is, or you can use your calculator and find the actual solution. So for now, I am leaving it this way. Now after that, also how many ways are there to select 47 cards from a deck of 52 cards? So this was your first question answer. Now we'll see the second. So we have again 52 cards. This is your second solution, and we are supposed to select 47 cards. Now in this case, NCR is equal to 52C47. Okay, so this will be again equal to 52 factorial. 52 minus 47 will be 5, and then 47 factorial. So if you remember the formula, it is n factorial by n minus R factorial into R factorial. Over here R was 47, over here R was 5. So basically you can see that when we are taking either 47 cards or 5 cards, the solution, that is the number of selections, will remain the same. Let's see the solution. Since the order in which the cards are dealt does not matter, the number of 5 card hand is 52C5, 52 factorial by 5 factorial into 47. This is the solution. Similarly, if we want to select 47 cards, the same solution will be applied. Now, apart from that, NCR is also equal to, so if you remember our question, the solution from the earlier problem, we noticed that 52C5 is equal to 52C47. So we can write it as NCR is equal to NC n minus R. N minus R over here, if you write 52C5 and 47 itself can be written as, instead of 47, we can write it as 52 minus 5. Okay, so whenever we have NCR, it will always be equal to NC n minus R. This is a very important equality to be remembered. Now the next problem is, how many ways are there to select 5 players from a 10-member tennis team to make a trip to a match at another school? So over here, how many total players do we have? We have the total number of players, n is equal to 10. And how many are we supposed to select? We are supposed to select 5. So R will be 5. So we are supposed to find C of 10, 5, which will be equal to 10 factorial by 5 factorial into 5 factorial. And this will be equivalent to 252. Similarly, we have a group of 30 people have been trained as astronauts to go on the mission to Mars. How many ways are there to select a crew of 6 people to go on this mission? So we have totally 30 people, and if we want to select only 6, then it will be R is equal to 6. So the selection will be made in this way, 30C6. which will be 30 factorial by 24 factorial into 6 factorial. All these results can be left as it is, or you can even use a calculator to give the final result. Now let's see the solutions for the same. So the number of combinations is 10C5, 10 factorial by 5 factorial into 5 factorial. And then similarly, this is 30C6, which is given as follows. Now, the next problem is, suppose there are 9 faculty members in the mathematics department and 11 in the computer science department. How many ways are there to select a committee to develop a discrete mathematics course at a school if the committee is to consist of 3 faculty members from the mathematics department and 4 from the computer science department? So in this case, if you remember, we have already solved this problem in the first topic of this unit by using the sum and the product rule. That is, we selected 3 faculty members from mathematics and 4 faculty, how many ways there are to select in this way. But now over here, if we are supposed to select a combination of 3 combination, okay, that is 3 faculty members from maths. So 3 combination of a set with how many elements? Maths department has 9. So of a set with 9 elements, and similarly 4 combination of a set with 11 elements. Okay, so 3 combination of a set with 9 elements and 4 combination of a set with 11 elements. How can we write this as? We can write it by using the product rule, that is 9C3 into 11C4. Now why are we using the product rule? So if you notice, if you remember the example of the chips and biscuits, if we are creating a combination by selecting a task in different ways, n1 ways and n2 ways, and there are different ways to do the task, then we will do it in n1 n2 ways. Similarly, if we are selecting from mathematics department, it is entirely a different procedure from selecting from the computer science department. So that is why we are supposed to use the product rule. So 9C3 into 11C4, and you can solve the same, that is 9 factorial by 6 factorial into 3 factorial, and 11 factorial into 4 factorial and 7 factorial. So it will give you the solution for the same. Let's see the solution. So by the product rule, the answer is the product of the number of 3 combination of a set with 9 elements and the number of 4 combinations of a set with 11 elements. So this is your answer. And this concludes the topic permutation and combinations. Thank you.